Ladies and gentlemen, your United States Army Maneuver Center of Excellence Band. Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. The ceremony will begin in 4 minutes. Before the ceremony begins, we ask that you silence all electronic devices and please refrain from smoking during the ceremony. distinguished guests, friends, family of Charlie Company, 2nd Battalion, 54th Infantry Regiment, on behalf of Major General Colin Tooley and Command Sergeant Major Brian Haight of the United States Maneuver Center of Excellence and Brigadier General Jim Kersey and Command Sergeant Major Christopher Donaldson of the United States Army Infantry School, we welcome you to today's graduation ceremony. Thank you for taking the time to share this great day with us. Before we start today's ceremony, would the veterans in the audience please stand? Ladies and gentlemen, please join us in a round of applause for these veterans who have kept our country free in times of peace and conflict. Thank you. For 251 years, American infantry soldiers have quietly gone about their duty that has taken them to historic battlefields on many of Earth's continents. Infantry soldiers stood fast on the bloody battlefields within our own borders, creating a republic and saving a union. They defeated our nation's enemies in Mexico, Cuba, and China. These warriors scorned the Kaiser in the trenches of France and defeated fascism in Germany and Italy. They set the rising sun of the Imperial Japan on 1,000 islands in the Pacific and stood firm against the communists in the mountains and the snows of Korea and in the streamy jungles of Southeast Asia. Infantry soldiers won the Cold War and preserved peace in the far-reaching places like South Korea and Europe. By their vigilant presence and spread freedom in Grenada, Panama, Kuwait, and Somalia with their sweat and blood. Infantry soldiers left the comfort of their families and endured the most demanding conditions of cold and heat, of dust and mud, of desert and jungle to fight our nation's wars. These young soldiers, soon to be in front of you today, all volunteers, joined the Army and the infantry. They chose to serve their nation, knowing that they may be deployed around the world by their commander-in-chief. To commemorate the sacrifices of those who went before and to tangibly link the commitment of today's soldiers with their legendary predecessors, this beautiful parade ground was seeded with soil taken from significant battlefields in our nation's history. On March 19, 2009, a hero or descendant of a hero of these battles spread soil on the very place where your soldiers will walk. These battles include Yorktown, Antietam, Soissons, Corregidor, Normandy, Santorini, Korea, LZ X-Ray, Iraq, and Afghanistan. When these young soldiers march proudly past you, they will actually be walking on the ground hallowed by their infantry forebears. One of those leaders was 2nd Lieutenant Daniel K. Inouye, spread on this parade field from San Lorenzo, Italy, and the parade field was officially named Inouye Field after him in his honor. In 1997, he was at San Lorenzo as a platoon leader in the 442nd Regimental Combat Team, and despite being critically wounded, 2nd Lieutenant Inouye, by his gallant, aggressive tactics and his indomitable leadership, led his platoon to advance through fierce resistance and capture the heavily defended and fortified ridge known as Col Musatello outside the town of San Lorenzo, Italy. The purpose of today's ceremony is to recognize the commitment of the soldiers in formation today who have chosen to serve their country as infantry soldiers. The review is the last official formation of the training cycle. Not everyone successfully completes this difficult period of training, but those in formation today present disciplined, motivated, and physically fit soldiers who exemplify the Army's 7 core values: loyalty, duty, respect, selfless service, honor, integrity, and personal courage. These soldiers are imbued with the warrior ethos and display the tenets of putting the mission first, never accepting defeat, never quitting, and never leaving behind a fallen comrade. This is an important day, and they can take great pride in their accomplishments. This ceremony marks the culmination of months of long, arduous training, the results of which are these superb infantry soldiers, prepared to take their places in infantry units around the world. Like you, we are proud of their accomplishments. Ladies and gentlemen, during the next few moments, there will be loud noises and smoke from the use of pyrotechnics. On the far side of the parade field, the World War II Company Street serves as a constant reminder on the time-honored traditions and values of America's greatest generation, those infantry soldiers who walked before us. In just a few moments, out from the past will emerge our country's next generation. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Infantry Rifle Squad, the foundation of the Army's decisive force and the embodiment of the warrior ethos. For 251 years, infantry soldiers have had the most challenging job of any member of the armed forces. They carry the fight to the enemy around the world. They are the standard bearer for all armies of the world, leading by example in this fight to defend freedom against ruthless terror. With the increased firepower and lethality of today's weapons, every infantry soldier must be trained to standard in over 200 tasks to defeat our enemies on any battlefield. The infantry soldiers graduating today are accomplished marksmen, able to engage the enemy day and night. They understand how to shoot, move, and communicate as a team. They are adaptable warriors who can fight as a mechanized force from Strykers or Bradleys, from the sky as airborne or air assault, and whose training is the basis for our elite special operation warriors. Most importantly, they are patriots who raised their right hand and swore an oath to God and country to defend the Constitution of the United States against any enemy. Ladies and gentlemen, the Infantry Rifle Squad. The squad is led by a staff sergeant. They are armed with an M7 rifle. The M7 rifle is the latest evolution of service rifle, utilizing improvised ambidextrous controls and the 6.8 by 51 Fury cartridge that is designed to defeat the latest in adversary body armor. The squad has 2 fire teams. Each fire team is led by a sergeant. They are also armed with an M7 rifle. This rifle is fully modular with an integrated receiver rail system used to engage targets at night. Each fire team has 1 automatic rifleman. They are armed with an M250 squad automatic weapon. This system replaces legacy systems, providing improvised firepower with a sustained rate of fire of 600 rounds per minute and weighing 6 pounds lighter than the previous weapon system, the M249 squad automatic weapon. Each fire team has 1 grenadier. They are armed with an M7 rifle and an M320 grenade launcher. It fires a variety of 40mm grenades to include high explosive, illumination, colored smoke, and buckshot. The M320 provides an invaluable indirect fire capability to the infantry squad. The remaining soldier in each fire team is the rifleman. They are armed with an M7 rifle and an M136 AT-4 anti-tank launcher. The AT-4 fires an 84mm shaped charge capable of defeating up to 14 inches of rolled homogeneous steel and breaching bunkers or masonry walls in urban structures. Additionally, each one of these soldiers is wearing the Advanced Combat Helmet with the AN-PVS-14 monocular night vision device. This night vision device also allows the soldier to see in low or no light conditions, coupled with the laser designator on their weapon. They can place effective fire on all targets at night. They are wearing the 2nd generation modular scalable vest, or MSV, which consists of 4 armored plates capable of stopping small arms fire and fragmentation. Additionally, they are wearing ballistic eye protection and a water hydration system. Ladies and gentlemen, all members of today's rifle squad are from Charlie Company, 2nd Battalion, 54th Infantry Regiment. This is the modern-day warrior, armed and equipped to fight and win anywhere, anytime, and in any type of terrain, against any enemy. These infantry soldiers are trained and ready to defend our country and preserve our way of life. Ladies and gentlemen, please join us in a round of applause for the United States Army Infantry Rifle Squad. Ladies and gentlemen, now returning to the parade field is the United States Army Maneuver Center of Excellence Band, led by Drum Major First Sergeant Jeffrey Taylor and commanded by Warrant Officer Lauren Assad. Ladies and gentlemen, now marching onto the parade field are the infantry soldiers from Charlie Company, 2nd Battalion, 54th Infantry Regiment. The company commander is Captain Alejandro Alonso, and the company first sergeant is Jonathan Reif.
Ready! Ready! Front! Parade! Parade! Front!
Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for the invocation and remain standing for the arrival of the official party. Chaplain Jesse Martinez, 2nd Battalion, 54th Infantry Regiment Chaplain, will offer the invocation.
Let us pray. Heavenly Father, we ask for your mighty hand of protection and guidance to rest upon these highly trained infantry soldiers as they move forward to their next assignment. May they carry with them the lessons of their time at Fort Benning, Georgia, remembering that the rigorous training they endured has forged a resilient foundation, fully preparing them for their calling ahead. We lift up their families who have stood steadfast through every obstacle, offering their unwavering support. We give thanks for the profound brotherhood and sisterhood formed during this journey, for the shared camaraderie, hardships, and laughter that sustain them. Grant these soldiers long, healthy lives of prosperous service. Equip them with strength and wisdom to be a force for good and to leave a lasting impact on our world. In your holy name we pray. Amen.
The official party for today's ceremony consists of 2nd Battalion, 54th Infantry Regiment Commander, Lieutenant Colonel Brian Searcy, and the Battalion Command Sergeant Major, Matthew Peeler.
Company! Down! Attention! Freeze it! Freeze it! On! Sir, the company's formed.
Conduct the ceremony.
Catch shoe, sir.
Middle foot.
Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated.
Order! Order! On! Persons to be honored in colors. Consider. March! Sir, persons to be honored as colors are present.
Take your post, present the command.
Catch shoes, sir.
No foot.
Order! Present! Present! On! Attachment! Present! On!
Ladies and gentlemen, please stand for the playing of the national anthem. Gentlemen, if you are not in uniform, please remove your headgear. Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated.
Attachment! Order! On! Order! Order! On! Parade! Parade! Rest!
The infantry soldiers graduating today come from many parts of the United States. The flags of the 50 states and 6 territories displayed at the museum symbolize the broad base of our national defense. The company standing before you have conducted a turning blue ceremony on Honor Hill, because blue is the color of the infantry. This ceremony culminated with each graduating soldier receiving the coveted symbols of an infantry soldier: the crossed rifle insignia with blue background discs, and the blue infantry cord. Turning blue signifies the rite of passage of these soldiers to carry on the finest traditions of the infantry. The infantry cross rifles, blue discs, and blue cord mark these soldiers as qualified to be the finest soldiers in the world, United States Army infantry soldiers. The soldiers most responsible for the training of these infantry soldiers are the drill sergeants, who are carefully selected by the Department of the Army. The drill sergeant campaign hat and badge have been a stoic symbol of professionalism and pride since 1962. At this time, the drill sergeant of the cycle for Charlie Company, 2nd Battalion, 54th Infantry Regiment, Drill Sergeant Perla Benales, will recite the Drill Sergeant Creed.
The Drill Sergeant Creed! I am a drill sergeant. I will assist each individual in their efforts to become a highly motivated, well-disciplined, physically and mentally fit soldier capable of defeating any enemy on today's modern battlefield. I will instill pride in all I train, pride in self, in the Army, and in country. I will insist that each soldier meets and maintains the Army standards of military bearing and courtesy consistent with the highest traditions of the U.S. Army. I will lead by example, never requiring the soldier to attempt any task I would not do myself. But first, last, and the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, both foreign and domestic. I am a drill sergeant. This will defend.
At this time, the official party will present the awards. The Drill Sergeant of the Cycle and Soldier of the Cycle will each receive the Army Achievement Medal. Receiving the Drill Sergeant of the Cycle Award from Charlie Company, 2nd Battalion, 54th Infantry Regiment is Drill Sergeant Benales from Stockton, California. The Soldier of the Cycle for Charlie Company, 2nd Battalion, 54th Infantry Regiment is Private Samuel Ryder from Ettrick, Wisconsin. Private Ryder's follow-on assignment is Fort Bragg, North Carolina. Ladies and gentlemen, please join us in giving these fine soldiers a round of applause. Ladies and gentlemen, the commander of 2nd Battalion, 54th Infantry Regiment, Lieutenant Colonel Brian Searcy.
All right, good morning, ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, family members, friends, veterans, and most importantly, the soldiers, drill sergeants, cadres, leaders of Charlie Company, 2nd Battalion, 54th Infantry Regiment. Welcome to today's ceremony. Today is not simply a graduation. Today is a transformation. This morning, the men and women standing before you walked onto the parade field as soldiers who completed training. When they leave here, they leave as infantrymen. There is a difference, and it is a difference that has mattered for more than 250 years. I ask that everybody take a hard look on the parade field at the soldiers of Charlie Company. Families, look at your sons and daughters. Friends, look at your classmates. Everybody, look at these soldiers. Because what stands before you today is becoming increasingly rare. In a world that celebrates comfort, they chose hardship. In a generation that prizes instant results, they committed to earning every step. In a culture that often celebrates self, they committed themselves to something much greater. In a world full of opinion, they chose action, and they volunteered for one of the hardest professions on this earth. No one forced them to become infantrymen. They raised their right hand, they accepted the challenge, and they earned the privilege to stand in this formation today as infantrymen in the United States Army. Ladies and gentlemen, if you have a soldier out on this field today, I don't care if you clap, if you scream, or if you stomp on the bleachers, let them hear how proud you are of them. For over 250 years, when America needed someone to stand between freedom and those who threatened to destroy it, the answer has always been the infantry. 1775, when liberty hung in the balance at Lexington and Concord, the answer was the infantry. In 1863, when the Union had to be preserved at Gettysburg, the answer was the infantry. 1944, when freedom had to be carried across the beaches of Normandy, the answer was the infantry. On the frozen hills of Korea, the jungles of Vietnam, over the skies of Panama, through the streets of Mogadishu, and in 2001, when terrorists attacked our great nation and threatened our blanket of freedom, the answer was the infantry. Every single one, different generations, different weapons, different enemies, but always the same answer, the American infantry. When others hesitate, move. When others quit, continue. When others are afraid, lead. When America calls, answer. That is what infantrymen have done for over 250 years. Ladies and gentlemen, history does not remember those who sat back and watched. History remembers those, like these out here on the field today, who stepped forward, and took action. Charlie Company, it's your turn. You become the next chapter. But let me be clear about something. The blue cord that you earned yesterday is not a trophy. It is not a reward. It is a responsibility. It represents every infantryman who came before you. Some returned home with honor, some returned home with scars, some never returned home at all. You wear the same cord today because they carried it before you. Honor them, protect its reputation, and never do anything that brings dishonor to the title infantryman. At this time, I would like to once again recognize a very special group in our audience, and I ask that you hold your applause for just a moment. If you have ever worn the uniform of the United States Armed Forces, would you please stand once again? Charlie Company, I want you to look around. These are the men and women who carried the burden before you. Some stood on this exact field that you are standing on today. Some fought in places that you have only read about. Some watch friends make the ultimate sacrifice, and some carry wounds that none of us can see. Every freedom that we enjoy today exists because of Americans like these who answered the call when our nation needed them. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in one more round of applause for all of the veterans here today. Thank you. Your example has inspired another generation to serve our great country, and for that I am grateful. I would also like to recognize another group of professionals whose impact should be obvious across this formation, the drill sergeants. Families and friends, you see disciplined soldiers, you see confidence, you see a change in your soldier in just the way that they stand. The drill sergeants, however, remember something a little bit different. They remember day one. They remember uncertainty. They remember mistakes. But they remember teaching these soldiers how to march, how to shoot, how to think, how to close with and destroy the enemy, and how to never quit. They demanded excellence every single day, not because it was easy, but because one day lives may depend on it. The standards that they enforced here will save lives later. Drill sergeants, thank you for your professionalism. Thank you for your sacrifice. Thank you for refusing to lower the standard. Thank you for forging the next generation of infantrymen that stand ready to ruck up, pick up a rifle, and defend our freedom. Families, thank you. You trusted us with someone that you love. You encouraged them when training was difficult. You wrote letters, you prayed, you waited, and today you should be proud, very proud, because your soldier has accomplished something that few Americans ever will. Charlie Company, in a few days, no one's going to care where you graduated in your class. No one's going to ask how fast you ran your 2-mile. No one is going to remember your qualification score. But they will care about something far more important. Can they trust you? Will you do the right thing when no one is watching? Will you carry your share of the load? Will you put the mission and your teammates ahead of yourself? That is what defines an infantryman. You are the infantry. You are the country's strength in war. You are her deterrent in peace. You are the heart of the fight wherever, whenever. You carry America's faith and honor against her enemies. You are the queen of battle now and forever. Charlie Company, the story of the American infantrymen did not end at Normandy. It did not end in Vietnam. It did not end in Fallujah, and it did not end in Afghanistan. That story continues with you. As you leave the parade field today, be proud and remember this. The history and the legacy of the infantry is no longer just something that you study. Today, you become part of it. Congratulations, Charlie Company. May God bless each of you and your families, and may God bless the United States Infantry. Mailed foot, brave and bold, follow me.
Detachment, post. March.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Soldier's Creed is the standard for all soldiers to live by. The Soldier's Creed helps soldiers understand that despite their very diverse background, all soldiers are warriors and members of a team. We invite all soldiers, both past and present, to stand and join us as the Soldier of the Cycle from Charlie Company, 2nd Battalion, 54th Infantry Regiment, Private Ryder, leads the Army's newest soldiers in the Soldier's Creed.
The Soldier's Creed! Cast shoe, sir. Sir, the infantrymen of Charlie Company, 2nd Battalion, 54th Infantry Regiment are fully trained and ready to take their place in infantry units around the world.
Pass and review.
Cast shoe, sir.
Well put.
Pass in review. Follow me! Right. Face. Forward! Forward! March!
Ladies and gentlemen, as the soldiers pass to your front, we invite you to take pictures, but please remain in your seats. When the American flag passes to your front, we ask that you rise and that the gentlemen remove their headgear. Once the American flag is past your location, you may be seated. Additionally, we ask that you please remain in the stands until the band has completely left the field. Now approaching the reviewing stand is the Maneuver Center of Excellence Band, led by Drum Major First Sergeant Jeffrey Taylor and commanded by Warrant Officer Lauren Assad. Charlie Company, 2nd Battalion, 54th Infantry Regiment is commanded by Captain Alejandro Alonso from Abilene, Texas. The Senior Drill Sergeant for 1st Platoon is Sergeant First Class Anthony Molina from Daytona Beach, Florida. The Color Sergeant is Staff Sergeant Alan Caro from Orange County, California. The Senior Drill Sergeant for 2nd Platoon is Staff Sergeant Jose Franquez from Manila, Philippines. The Senior Drill Sergeant for 3rd Platoon is Sergeant First Class Heston Andrews from Dallas, Texas. Additionally, 3rd Platoon earned the title of Honor Platoon this cycle. The First Sergeant for Charlie Company, 2nd Battalion, 54th Infantry Regiment is First Sergeant Jonathan Rife from Grundy, Virginia. Ladies and gentlemen, please stand for the playing of the Army Song. Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of the 198th Infantry Brigade Commander, Colonel Brendan Fitzgerald, and the Brigade Command Sergeant Major, Frank Enriquez, we thank you for attending today's graduation ceremony and joining us in congratulating the new soldiers. We also ask that as you leave, respectfully stay off of the parade field grass. Have a safe journey home. Follow me.